of its daily operational needs in Gaza. Well, we can now go live to Gaza to discuss this situation with Tom White, who's the director of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA. Thank you very much for joining us. It's very dark where you are. Is there power at all where you are? Can you hear me, Tom? I'm not sure we have proper communications with Tom at the moment, but we will try to establish that again and go to Tom in Gaza when we can. But it's just obviously an indication of how difficult it is to make contact with people.
Yeah, I've got you. I've got you.
You've got me now. Hi, Tom. Thank you very much for joining us here at the BBC. I was just curious, because it's so dark where you are, what the power situation is, where you're speaking to us from.
Well, I'm very lucky that we've got a bit of fuel for a generator, but for the reality for most of the people in Gaza, they're in darkness right now as fuel supplies are running out here in Gaza.
And just tell us how significant this fuel delivery is. I mean, it is the first time after many weeks of calls for fuel to cross in from Rafah. That's to power your trucks bringing aid in. But still, what's your reaction to that?
My reaction is it's not particularly significant. This fuel coming in has been essentially it's been dictated by the Israeli authorities about what we can do with this. It has been allocated under the instructions from the Israeli authorities just to take aid from the Rafah border. But essentially on the ground right now, we need fuel to run a range of humanitarian services, and they're all shutting down. So today, all of the sewage network in Rafah City stopped. There are two major desalination plants. One of them stopped. I'm waiting for news now that the second desalination plant has stopped. That's water for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. One of the hospitals has effectively closed. It's only providing emergency services. We could not provide fuel to 24 ambulances today. So, 24,000 litres today enables us to fuel a few trucks to move some aid. But the reality is that people are going without drinking water. They don't have access to medical care. I'm expecting overnight more infrastructure will stop, more desalination plants, sewage flowing in the streets, and particularly concerning tomorrow, Paltel, the major telecommunications company, will run out of fuel and the data and phone network will go down tomorrow. And
just without fuel, it's really impossible, of course, for the territory to function. We ask this every time we speak to someone from an aid agency or from the UN. I mean, what exactly is your appeal to the international community? You clearly just need more and really quickly.
Our appeal to the international community is twofold, really. The first is that we need the aid to be able to deliver for people in need. The amount of aid we're getting into Gaza right now is not meeting the need. Not even by a long shot is it meeting the need. This is now being compounded by the fact that we do not have fuel to aid our operation, let alone provide basic services for the whole population. The second major call for the international community is a humanitarian ceasefire.
And just briefly, Tom, before we end this interview, I wanted to ask you about the practicalities of even this fuel getting across from Rafah. Were you there? How does it practically come across, and how do you get that fuel over, and what are the checks in place?
Ordinarily, and we've been using this for the last 3 weeks, there's a very simple mechanism of pumping fuel into a big reservoir which sits on the Gaza side of the border with Egypt. And in coordination with the Israeli authorities, we've been drawing down on that fuel reserve over the last couple of weeks. Very simple mechanism and very accountable in terms of that this fuel is going for humanitarian aid. That's the simplest and most transparent way of getting fuel into Gaza. Today, a tanker crossed the border. it was a tanker that was half full and deposited 24,000 litres in one of our tankers, which will essentially run our semi-trailers for 2 days.
OK, Tom White, the director of UNRWA, joining us live from Gaza. We really do appreciate your time in bringing us up to date on the situation where you are.